Greetings, fellow Americans. Susanna for President 2028, House of Representatives 2026, and VP 2028. Welcome to FDR's Fireside Chats. Pretty soon it's going to be the end of 2024, and we're going to be starting a whole new year. I published last week some new information about how my Fireside Chats are going to work and the episode's release dates. Those are going to be on Wednesday, the episode releases on YouTube and my other social media. If you are on Facebook, my personal Facebook, if you follow me there, if you're a friend on my friends list, and if you also follow me on Blue Sky and Threads, you can view the full-length lives about 30 minutes after they are finished loading onto Facebook. The links will be available. The episode releases will happen on Wednesday. This coming up Sunday, there is not going to be a Fireside Chat because I'm going to be traveling to see family. But we will resume our Fireside Chats on the 22nd, the 22nd. That being said, let's delve right into what we're going to talk about today. The first thing I want to talk about is a continuation of how we're going to implement some strategies with our Native American tribesmen in our nation. So we're going to help them in many different ways. One of the most important things that we need to do is preserve the language of our tribesmen. Language is very important to the development of every other language that we know about. It's not just significant enough to preserve it just because it is language, but because of the historical development of every language that we know exists. And they're learning more and more about languages as they've developed, as scientists like archaeologists have discovered new artifacts that have writing on them that appear to be older than most of what we had already discovered. Language preservation is also essential for cultural habits associated with the positive aspects of cultural growth, and individual tribesfolk who are within developing communities, being able to communicate, to be able to pass along these habits and positive aspects to each generation is quite important. It always has been. That's how we've developed so many of our technological advances and aspects, especially throughout our education system. Word of mouth. Teaching these things is very important. There's also, that leads me into actually the education aspect of this. And most of this, in fact, the majority of this is applied to every individual culture and set of people that we keep demographics for. We're going to make sure that our people are taken care of. And this is just outlining how we can do that. So, along with the education and language aspect, our young tribesfolk should be learning within their language as they're growing up to preserve that as well. They also will have the ability to choose to learn English, American English, as they get older, especially if they're applying for jobs in which they would need to communicate via the American language. And they can learn that as early as, they can start learning that as early as middle school. So it's going to be very important for us to implement these things also within the rest of the national education system, because this is part of it. There's also going to be the same access to education throughout a tribesperson's individual life. You know, just as much as it's available to any other American. The right to education applies in this aspect, especially because they are part of our nation. We need to treat them as such, and this is one of the ways that we're going to do that. This also includes access to college education and the career paths and help needed to determine those career paths will be available as well. The opportunity for tribesmen, medicine men, anyone who is willing to teach and pass along those skills that can be applied to everyday American lives will definitely come in handy as well. It's going to earn them their own income, but it's going to be taxable for the nation, for the tribesfolk nation. And it will also help us in the United States become a healthier and more functional society, a more free society. There's also the housing and employment plans along with that. And again, these things are going to be able to be applied to every demographic that we have that is suffering from poverty, from a lack of available housing, affordability in a lot of different aspects. So just like with some of the previous videos I've discussed our housing and poverty reduction plan in, and this is part of the poverty reduction plan, making sure that we have those same types of structures available for temporary housing as well as permanent housing, such as shipping containers that can be transformed into livable spaces, 3D printed houses, land that could be developed at least on a small scale to provide more community housing for those who need it, as well as other things that help a community develop to keep them flowing, to keep them out of poverty. Thank you for your time, and may our path lead to peace and prosperity.